Hello, my name is Brittani Miller. Thank you so much for spending a few moments of your time with me today. I'm going to be sharing with you a short story I wrote called Crescendo. This was written for a class here at University of Illinois Springfield and later published in Pink Panther Magazine. Because we only have a few minutes today, I'm going to be sharing with you an abridged version. However, the full text will be available as a PDF in the description box below. Now, before we start, I do want to give a small trigger warning. This story does deal with implications of abuse and mental health. So if that's something that you don't think you can handle, it's perfectly okay. I understand. But without further ado, let's get right into Crescendo. Standing behind the checkout counter, you flip through a trashy magazine and listen to the drizzle against the windows and the sounds of cars passing by on the highway. Only a handful of customers have come in today, most of them quickly popping in for gas and snacks on the way to some big family dinner. Presently, a man appearing to be in his mid-30s peruses the hostess aisle, and you watch his quiet stalking of the snack cakes over the top of an article titled 7 Sexy Gifts to Surprise Your BF. Maybe you're being overly cautious, but you don't take your eyes off him as he and his Twinkies disappear into the drink coolers. When he emerges, you carefully fold your magazine and ask if he found everything okay. Yeah, just stopped in for some snacks for the kiddos. $25 on pump 5. You nod and punch the charges into the cash register. The man inserts his card into the card reader and, without looking up, asks, "You have any plans today?" You know he's just making small talk, but try to keep the discomfort out of your voice as you bag his snack cakes and drinks. You're looking at him. The register beeps and he removes his card from the machine. As he takes the bag from your hand, your skin brushes his and you try not to breathe. This is unnoticed by him as he offers you a small smile and says, "Well, I hope you get off soon so you can spend some time with your family. Happy Thanksgiving." And with that, he is out the door and climbing into the front seat of the minivan, kissing his wife before merging back onto the highway. In retrospect, your day had not been particularly horrible. You used to be a waitress, and that was a nightmare on holidays. Working in a gas station on a holiday where people travel usually just meant you had a lot of customers who weren't your regulars. Really, it gets to be a bit boring, and you simply want nothing more than to come home and collapse into bed. Something about the dreary, rainy day fills you with tiredness. There was a time when you did not so anxiously long for sleep after work, when you would have been spending the holiday with family, just like all the other people traveling today. A time before him, and a time before it, and a time before all the rain started. You remember the days when your mom would make pumpkin pie and your dad would carve the turkey and sneak pieces to you and the dog when nobody was looking. We would all try not to acknowledge the mass chaos of 25 people in one house eating dinner together, because in the end, it was worth it to share each other's stories and recap the year together. You reach your apartment and snap back to reality, shuffling through the pockets to find the door key. Inside your apartment is cluttered and messy, not in filth, but in a disorganized arrangement of belongings. A couple jackets thrown over a chair here, stacks of books that never quite made it to a shelf there, remotes and forgotten mail, and an army of empty water bottles on every surface. You throw your keys onto the coffee table, knocking a couple of water bottles into the floor, sit the grocery bag in the fridge, walk numbly toward the back of your apartment where your bed is nestled into a small, cluttered bedroom. You know you need to clean, even if it is just to tidy up a little bit. If your room had looked like this in high school, your mother would have grounded you for weeks. You often think, maybe I'll clean tomorrow, or this weekend for sure. You peel off your rain-soaked coat, drop it on the floor and flop back onto your bed, eyes closed and hands crossed over your chest like a corpse. There was a time when this bed was a safe haven to you, when you didn't know what it was like to want so badly to climb out of its sheets or how it felt when he had entangled you in them. Now, you felt the chaos of claustrophobia and comfort in the room. Comfort only in the fact you were surrounded in the material comforts of blankets and pillows, but claustrophobia and the horror of now knowing what it's like to be unable to escape them. The bed feels oddly empty now, even as you shift to lie spread eagle on the duvet. You remember being a child making snow angels outside with the neighbor kids. You spent what felt like hours forging your way through a foot of snow, pelting each other with snowballs and laughing harder than you had ever had before. You hid when your parents tried to call you in and promised to be friends forever. As you think about it, you long for that innocent, for the days when monsters lived only under the bed, before the monsters learned to crawl out and attack you while you were sleeping. You rolled over onto your side, your hands folded under your head as you stare out at your room and the empty walls that had at one point held so many pictures of the life you had once longed for. Now your walls were just blank. It never felt more empty than trying to replace the pictures in the frames. So you just took the frames away altogether. Your eyes fall from where they stared at the wall, and you turn your gaze at something you have long forgotten about, nestled between the mess of your desk and the corner wall, in a little black cloth case. You feel your breath catch slightly as you remember what the case houses. You acquired the instrument some years ago, back when you still spent holidays at home. It was an expensive whim, but you loved music fiercely and needed something to distract you in your downtime. People told you that hobbies were a good thing, so you went out and purchased the first hobby you could think of. You always wanted to learn to play an instrument anyway, though you didn't have the faintest idea what you were doing or where to even go, but you ended up in a guitar center with a couple $100 and very little self-control amidst the first of many breakdowns. He had driven you there and taken the instrument out of the store in his own hands. Still, it was yours. It remained yours even now. He never learned to strum correctly, and he scoffed at the little four-stringed neck. Maybe, you had considered, it was the one pure thing he could not take from me. And maybe you just need to make peace with that. Your mood shifts slightly, perking up like a dog seeing a bone. You would hear the wind picking up outside, rain crashing against the window now as you swing your legs off the bed and sit upright. You stare over at the little black case for a moment, deciding if you really want to take a plunge into something that could either heal or destroy. You thought back to the slow, careful way you'd unzip that case the first night when he finally let you take it into your own hands. Something holy that would soon be gouged in scratches and frayed strings. The way you pulled the instrument from the case that day was like Arthur pulling the sword from the stone. The little wooden instrument had shined in the kitchen lights, innocent and untouched as it had yet to be played. You feel a lump begin to form in your throat as you stare into the corner, unblinking. Your eyes begin pumping harder than the rain to the window pane. You rise to your feet, legs slightly wobbling, as though you are not prepared to carry so much weight. You cross the room and take the black case in your hands, returning it to your bed and stripping the fabric off to reveal the dark carved wood that rested inside. As you unearth the wooden body from its fabric coffin, your fingers gently brush the strings, and you sit back on the bed. Third finger, fourth string, third fret, strum, down, down, up, down, up. Third finger, fourth string, second fret, second finger, second string, second fret, first finger, third string, first fret, first finger, third string, first fret, second finger, first string, second fret, strum, down, down, up, down, up. You hum softly in your throat like a cat purring. Closing your eyes, you can feel yourself begin to drift off to the tune. You had wanted to study music in college, but took a gap year to plan your wedding. Your gap year turned into 2, then 3, then 4. You sometimes wish that you had stayed in school. You struggle with it often, thinking about how much you let him take from you, and now you have given him part of your future as well. You wonder sometimes if he ever drives by the gas station and wonders how you are doing without him. You wonder if he ever wishes he had the nerve to come in and apologize. You are pulled out of your thoughts by the gross clang of a wrong chord and the sudden jolt of the bed shaking. You are angry. Hot tears stream down your cheeks, sweltering like flames. You are angry at the memory, at the song, at him, at the damned instrument itself, and the way it could never sound the same after it had happened. You continue strumming, far too aggressively, furious tears falling down your cheeks and rolling down the sleek wooden body of the instrument. Maybe if the strings break your cuticles open, maybe then you could at least have an excuse for this ache in your chest. A sharp wind blows through the room, and the bed shakes again. The earth seems to quake as the window bursts open with your fevered strums. Third finger, fourth string, third fret, strum, down, down, up. The entire room shook. Posters fall from the wall. The door slams shut. The bed continues to shake harder and harder. For a moment, you are in shock. Your hands stop moving. You can remember now a time when you were young and back home with your parents. There were earthquakes clear out to the Midwest. You had been lying in your little bed, clutching your favorite teddy bear, when you were startled awake by the mattress quivering with the entirety of the old house. This is it, you had thought. The world is ending. The shaking filled your little body and came out as equally shaky lips and horrid sobs. When the earth finally stopped moving and you managed to slip out of bed and into the living room, you found your parents huddled on the sofa, watching the news and wondering what was happening to the world. This was perhaps the first moment when you knew you were not completely safe, and perhaps you never could be safe again. Not even in your own home, in your own bed, arms wrapped around your favorite teddy bear. You had given up this control long ago, and the long-forgotten discipline of music, of playing, haunted you like a ghost. Like him, barely there, but still everywhere in the back of your mind. You release the instrument and let it ring out a hollow note as it hits the floor.